Live. Hi! Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Salty Sweet Games. Welcome to Masks of Nyarlathotep, a Pulp Cthulhu campaign. I am the aforementioned Salty.
And I'm Sweet.
And these various assorted spices are our friends. Before we go around and say hi to everybody, find out who they're playing, if you're new here, we're going to go through some channel stuff like we do every time. Firstly, a ton of thanks to our sponsors. The first being Roll20, our virtual tabletop of choice, which unites gamers across any distance with easy-to-use tools that run straight from your web browser for free. We are part of their Indie Spotlight program, which highlights TTRPG creators all across the interwebs. And we love them very much. Yes, we do. Roll20Con is October 23rd through 25th. There's going to be all kinds of exciting things. It's cool. For those of you, however, who like your physical click-clacks, your chunky boys, we are also affiliates of Dice Envy, and you can go to their website and use the code SaltySweet, all caps, one word, to get 10% off your order. Get those shiny math rocks. They have all kinds of things. They have your regular dice, you got your gemstones, even you got your wood dice. Like this one looks like it's a truffle and I want to eat it, but I'm constantly told that I should not eat it.
It is forbidden to eat. But yeah, they have new releases every couple
What's
of weeks.
the newest one, Kienna?
The newest one, because I'm signed up to
got replaced. I think something else came out, but whatever.
Well, that's true. There was one that was called Stepdaddy that came out a couple of weeks ago.
He's not here to replace your real dad.
But they also have Rhyme Scheme, which just came out, which is snowflake themed, super pretty, blue glitter with white patterning. And they've also upgraded a bunch of their sets, their normal 7 dice sets to 9 dice, where you get an extra chunky D20 on top of your normal D20. Delicious. So if you want those big boys like these ones are big hefty boys, and the rest of the dice, that's the best way to get them.
Yes, do it. I dare you. There is also Grinding Coffee Co., a Black and LGBT plus owned coffee company that sells all organic brews, and portions of their proceeds go to charity. They are really cool. They're actually doing this program with NYU, I believe, with their like marketing department. So you should go in and follow their Twitter and stuff. I think it's going to be really interesting. You can go to their website, use the code SaltySweetGames, all caps, one word, to get 13% off your order. I've converted Katie from our Witcher show.
You converted like several people at this point.
Sam. We're all drinking Peru now. Look, I'm good.
You're good at what you do.
Thank you to everybody who has subscribed, resubbed, gifted subs, all those things. So we have those sweet, sweet emotes and the sub badges for you. There are also, I swear I updated the panels, right? Yes, I must have. There are panels down below with tip options if you would like to directly support us and then affect the game as well. You could literally save a life. Probably Summer's or Tommy's, if I had to guess. You could save one of them. Look at those little faces. Look at those. Don't you want to save those faces? Anyway, all you have to do is click. Oh no! Click on the image down there or the link. It'll take you to our Streamlabs tip jar. All of this is to help us keep the lights on and to compensate our cast. So that's that spiel. Last thing. We here at Salty Sweet Games use safety tools, lines, veils, X and a no card, stars and wishes, and content warnings because while the characters may be put through hell or almost eaten by a snake person, thing, lizard person, the players are here to have fun. And they're our priority always. So we're going to go around and meet them really fast. Kienna, who are you playing?
Hi, I'm Kienna, Sweet's channel, obviously. I use she, they pronouns, but today I am playing Irene Blackwell, uses she, her pronouns. She is the resident forger of the group, kind of party mom, shot a lizard person last time. Things are totally fine, I guess,
I don't know
now.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? Sounds good. Sounds convincing to me. Let's hop up to Allie. Hi, Allie.
Hi, hey everybody, it's Allie. I play Ganymede Graves' adventure scientist. Enough said. She's super cool.
That's true. That's true. And there's no need to prolong that because it's just true. Let's pan over to Summer. Hi, Summer.
What's up?
You know, chilling,
Hey.
killing.
What? Killing? What? Hi, I'm Summer. I use she, her pronouns, and today and every day until he dies, again,
Again.
uh, I will be playing one Mr. Charlie Rapp. He's what isn't he? Let's go into it. He's a playboy. He's like super hot. He's rich. He's got opinions about things and people, and he's filthy rich and also super hot. And also he talks to spirits.
Right. So if
Sometimes
anybody
devils.
but Summer were playing him, we would have voted him off the island.
We would have eaten him already.
Yeah,
he would be gone.
Makes sense. And let's go to Tommy, who I never forget.
Absolutely. Never.
Definitely
ever,
not
ever,
last
ever.
time.
That's
That
definitely
wasn't
not
last time.
ever.
It was the time
It
before.
was 2 sessions ago, I believe. I am so glad to be back. Hello, hi, I'm Tommy. I use he, him pronouns. I am at Imperator Pingo on the Twitter sphere. And I'm super glad to be back. I play Zebulon Augustine Claiborne Montgomery III, who is currently passed out, bleeding on the floor everywhere, blood everywhere.
So many bite marks on
so
his
many
body.
Is he
bite marks.
hot?
I mean, if you find that attractive, yes. If you find his ability to wrestle a lizard person attractive, yes. I personally have a feeling about who's going to show up at the hospital, and I don't know who I'm more scared of for that to happen. So we're gonna see.
Perfect. Good. I'm excited too. And last but not least, we're going to go over to our special guest for our London arc, Billy.
Hey, it's me.
Hi.
I am Bill, or you could call me Billy as well, depending on how apt and how much you lean into brevity. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Mickey Mahoney, who also uses he, him pronouns. Mickey's seen a lot, but he's also seen a lot with this crew specifically. This has been an adventure. This has been a day. This is all this stuff that happened with this. It's been like a day.
Yep.
It's one singular day, and it feels like 10 years. A lot. Trauma. But one thing I'll definitely have to do if we're potentially going to a facility to look after them for their physical well-being, I'll have to get my house keys back from Zeb, because I don't want to be locked out of Mickey doesn't want to be locked out of his flat.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where it's going.
Yeah.
There's so many cool things that can happen and that have happened.
So many scary things that could happen.
It's October. Spooky month. Let's get into it. I've got a recap for y'all. It's perfect as usual, in case you were wondering. But we're going to do that now. Last time, most of our investigators were down for the count. Charlie was unconscious with Ganymede close behind, while Mickey was still hallucinating and Zebulon was frozen. In his hallucinations, Mickey climbed a Great Pyramid to a door, though in reality he was climbing the stairs to the garret room and its padlocked closet, inside of which was a painting of an ancient marsh. Mickey entered this marsh in his hallucination and, back in reality, found another door that led him out of the marsh, the padlocked closet, and back into his reality. Meanwhile, Ganymede managed to get herself and Charles out front of the house and call for help. A working girl named Rose answered and managed to get to a phone booth and call the police. As Ganymede lost consciousness, both she and Charlie dreamt of traumatic events from their past. Ganymede helped take back the Daring from a pirate crew when she was only 13, while Charlie saw the night he and his high school sweetheart were swept away in a flash flood, with only Charlie surviving. Well, kind of. In both cases, they saw the dripping black eyes of the being they had met who was possessing Augustus Larkin years ago. During all of this, Irene was fighting the serpent inside of Bertha Shipley. She was briefly entranced, hypnotized maybe by the creature, but managed to break both herself and Zebulon free from its hold. The creature and Zebulon fought tooth and nail while Irene called out for Miles to help them. He eventually came down kind of in shock, holding the painting from the garret room closet, but froze when he saw the being possessing his mother's corpse. Irene took the painting, and after figuring out why the creature was so scared of it, Zebulon forced the beast to look at it, and this creature, Sathasa, was transported into the painting as the sirens of police cars filled the air. So, I think that's where we're going to pick up. Yep. Where is Zebulon's body? It's out back in the garden, correct?
Yep.
So, we've got Ganymede in Mickey's car. Mickey's awake. Charlie's awake now. And Irene's awake. So, what are you doing in these few moments before this house in Holbein Mews is swarmed?
Oh, just crying, probably.
That's fair.
Just gonna spend some time doing that. And hope that Zeb dies before we get out there.
What?
Fingers crossed.
Oh.
Obviously kidding.
I was so confused. I was like, wait. Okay.
No, we'll go get Zeb. Or
Oh.
we'll make sure that he doesn't die. For
Great.
sure.
Sure.
I'll just I can first aid him, right?
I
Yeah.
think you've already been first aided.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've
so-
been hovering
Then
around
I'll do
him
nothing.
for a bit.
Yeah.
Then I'll just watch him and make sure that he stays.
Well, I think
is he
this is
unconscious?
I think we said he was unconscious.
Cool.
I think this is the first time because they were still kind of in the midst of it all when you came out. So I don't think you saw how it all ended, but he's got claw marks in his side tearing through his shirt. Those are all bloody. And he's got big, what look like puncture wounds, like covering a large section of his shoulder.
Ooh, bummer. Yeah, Charlie will take off his jacket and I don't know. I don't know how to deal with a trauma victim. I'm gonna just try and keep him alive and warm and keep his blood in his body
Whereabouts
in any way I can.
Whereabouts is Mickey?
Mickey would be looking after Zeb as well because he, took part in that kerfuffle. Trying to assess any sort of things that need doing, whether looking around at the group, saying like, should we? I'm not a doctor. And then he's like seeing that he's probably going to need some sort of attention in a more professional manner. He's going to take the keys that he placed in Zeb's pocket out of Zeb's pocket.
Upon seeing this, since I'm right there with you, why were those in his pocket?
In the chaos, if there are police coming to investigate while we are still here, perhaps you could have escaped and taken refuge in my flat. Perhaps I could have talked the police out of it or taken the fall or something.
Why would you want to do that?
Because I could get out of it easily.
Oh. Well, I think it's gonna be fine.
Should we hide anything suspicious? If someone's coming to investigate, that means more people will be coming to investigate further, and I'd rather not have someone on my backside.
Is there like a skin, Lauren? Is there like a skin sack?
Yes.
Here?
Bertha Shipley's.
Great. I'm gonna light that on fire though.
With what?
My Zippo lighter. I don't know. With my matches. I smoke. I've got a lighter.
Yeah, it's just skin. It's not like covered in anything. I mean, it will eventually burn, I suppose.
I'll go find some like lighter fluid. They probably have gas. I mean, they've got gas here for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that.
All right.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And something I want to do this morning.
Good. I'm happy for you.
Because I don't want to explain that to literally anyone. And although I am confident in my ability to bribe a cop, I think that would be a little bit expensive.
I mean, I would love to see.
I'm very charming, Lauren.
Yeah. I know
rich.
you are. I
Very
have
handsome.
a working theory that the charm button is bugged because it's almost never worked for me, no matter how charming I've been. But
Yeah. No, I agree with you because that is also the
Summer
case
and
for
I
me.
get it.
We get it. I'm very charming in theory. In practice, not so much. Yeah, so I'm gonna go rooting around. I'm gonna find some gas. If they have like a wood burning stove,
Sure.
that's not gonna smell good. I'm just gonna do it out here. I think that's a better idea.
Okay, so that's what Charlie's doing. Mickey and Irene are with Zeb. Irene, is there anything else you wanted to do? Miles is still out here, but completely frozen in shock.
Okay. When I was having my fun little conversation with Snake Lizard Person inside of Bertha Shipley, there was a mention about something about the basement, right? Like that.
She wanted you to take your friends to the basement.
Right. Okay.
For fun.
For funsy.
Tea and cake.
And that is where Charlie tried to break into because he heard screaming.
Yeah. Irene is torn between wanting to burn this fucking house down and finding out what's in the basement. She dislikes this house. She dislikes what is in it and everything. But she also doesn't want to burn the basement if something's down there. So, do we hear sirens? Is that a thing that's happening?
So, interestingly, I think they have the crank ones, but you hear a lot of yells and whistles, like loud industrial whistles, calling for people to get out of the way because the Metropolitan Police Force, you hear a few cars, but cars were actually pretty rare. If you were able to look down the street, I think as Ganymede starts to rouse, Ganny, you open your eyes and you see kind of a fleet of cars and bicycles, which maybe looks a little strange, but is pretty normal for London.
Yeah, I think Ganymede just heaves a sigh of relief that the cavalry has arrived, having no idea what's going on inside at this point, and tries to shake off the last of the effects of the whatever drug she was slipped in her tea, so she can meet them.
Perfect. Yeah, you are able to do that. It seemed to be a pretty either low dosage or just not a strong drug. Like, but of course you don't have any of it That's not ingested
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she shakes herself a bit and steps out of the back seat of the car and kind of fixes her coat and kind of runs her fingers through her hair a little bit as the police are arriving.
Yeah. I think the cars that are there, there's probably, I'll give them one or two. Yeah. Second one's lagging a bit behind, and several of the officers on bicycle pull to a stop in front of the house, looking around, obviously, because as far as they were told, there were two people unconscious in front of the house, and now no one's there.
Yes.
So, what do you do?
Oh, officer, thank you so much for coming. I'm, forgive me, Ganymede Graves.
One who arrived on the bicycle goes to shake your hand, but someone cuts in front of him. Tall and thin man with a clipped mustache, very tired-looking eyes in a shabby suit. This is Inspector James Barrington.
Nice.
And he puts out a hand, very brief, notes the open front door. I guess there were the sounds of gunshots, so I think people along this street, there are windows open, people are looking around. But Barrington keeps his eye on you after glancing at the door. Can you tell me what's going on here?
As best I can. Where to begin? Yes, my friends and I came looking to meet an artist of some renown, Miles Shipley. We were looking at his paintings, and his mother, I believe, had offered us some tea, and there must have been something in it. My friend and I were rendered unconscious. He's in the house now. There are others there, but that's what I know. Did I hear the gunshots, by the way?
I don't know that you did. But
I don't think so either.
We were asleep for that.
Yeah, I think
Being re-traumatized.
one of the officers is talking to an older lady out of the window of one of the compact houses and calls over, "Inspector, they said something about gunshots?" And Barrington turns back to you.
I've only just regained consciousness. I don't recall that, but it could have been.
All right, you stay here. We'll go and check it out. Stumbling block 1.
I know. I think she might actually stay there.
Ganymede, just pretend to faint. It'll be fine.
How will that help her?
Well, he'll stop. Like, he'll be like, oh no, she fell unconscious again.
She puts fingers to her temple and presses. Her head is still ringing. Says, yes, all right. Thank you, as he's going, and I think she's maybe just going to, as others are sort of moving past her to get into the house, I think she's just sitting on the front stoop and trying to recover a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to that as Inspector Barrington leads his officers inside. So, we've got Charlie looking for lighter fluid. Everybody else is in the back garden. I suppose when they enter, there's nothing terribly out of the ordinary, and they're quickly checking rooms as they go pretty efficiently. Ganymede, you would know this, but it will probably surprise the others. That they don't carry firearms. They've got truncheons, wooden truncheons, because firearms, revolvers usually needed to have the permission of a senior officer to take out, which Barrington probably is, but obviously there wasn't a lot of information. So, yeah, they move through the house pretty efficiently, covering the ground floor first. I think all the doors are still open, and you were in the kitchen, Charlie? That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I was gonna, if I had seen, well, yeah, I guess the kitchen would probably be the best place to look for gas or lighter fluid or something.
Yeah. So as they come in, there are probably, so there's the inspector and then 3 others, because I think one stayed out front. So, do you mind telling me what's going on here?
Charlie smiles like literally nothing is wrong. And he goes, yeah, absolutely. My friends and I came here to buy some art, and a couple of us were drugged, actually. Just woke up maybe 10 minutes ago, and he'll point to the tea set that's like out and say, you can check it. I don't know if we drank all of it or not. I don't know if you have any means to test it. I wouldn't recommend drinking any of it, but
he gives you a nod, at least of acknowledgement of, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. And the officer closest to the back door, you hear him make a little sound of surprise, and turns to the inspector. Inspector, we got an injured out here. And he opens the back door, and they move on again. An officer staying with you in here. So now Barrington and 2 other officers are outside, where we've got Irene and Mickey huddled around and unconscious, and very injured Zebulon.
I just would like to note that I have put the gun the fuck away into my bag, because I'm realizing, with quick research, having a firearm like that is illegal without a gun license in the UK.
I waived it because of Ganymede's status.
It's actually it's the whole thing that pistols very specifically aren't allowed. Like anything that's what a revolver would be.
Yeah. But shotguns don't count as guns. That's just a fun fact for you. They don't count, so you can have them. Great. I mean, I waived that you weren't searched when you came in.
Yeah.
So the gun is away. What about Mickey's?
He would, yeah. So if the threat gone, he would have like put it in the back of his high-waisted pants and then closed his kimono.
Yes. So the 2 younger officers move in. I think they're kind of waiting for the go-ahead from Inspector Barrington, and I think now you can hear the wail of an ambulance coming. Obviously, it was a little bit behind because Rose did mention there were people who were drugged and such like that, so one would be coming. So, the younger of the two officers, with his pulling his truncheon out maybe prematurely, just says, what's going on here?
A friend is hurt. He needs some assistance. Would you be so kind?
Yeah, I think that one immediately begins to go to the body, the very much alive body, who's stabilized and all that good stuff. But Barrington actually holds out his hand to stop him from moving. There were reports of gunshots. Are any of you armed?
Gunshots? Strange. No.
He looks at Irene.
Irene's not good at. She knows she doesn't. She's not good at talking, so she just kind of She shakes her head, and she's very withdrawn. I think at this point,
Yeah.
she's got Zeb's blood on her and all that
Right.
situation. She's playing up the "I'm shell shocked by what's happened" card, but she's not. She's very physically not saying anything.
Great.
I did hear the kickback of an automobile engine out front earlier. I don't recall a gunshot, though.
Great. So, Mickey, make persuasion. Irene, I'm gonna let you make appearance.
Oh God.
But, I'm guessing it's better than persuasion or.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mickey, you could also make fast talk if that's better for you, or charm. I'd give you any of those.
Okay.
I'm feeling generous.
Don't do charm. Don't do it.
It's cursed.
Which one? I see persuasion. I can't.
Fast talk.
Yeah.
It's all alphabetical.
Okay. Yeah.
so-
Let me do persuasion. Let me do persuasion.
Oh no! You want to use
Good
full
roll.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Can I use 4 luck?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, they updated it.
Okay.
Nice. So let's see. It definitely, you feel this moment hang in the air, but whether he believes you or is just more concerned now, he doesn't say anything, and he kind of moves his hand so that the other officer can get in there and check out Zebulon. So Inspector Barrington looks at Mickey and Irene. So what happened here?
Your guess is as good as mine. We arrived on the scene later, and there was this, my friend, lying here on the ground. We know about the same amount of information, my friend.
So, just to clarify, and you see, there's, I think, not cunning in a bad way, but he's sharp. So 2 of your friends were here and drugged, but you arrived late on the scene to find this one bloodied in the backyard.
We were supposed to meet up here for a party of sorts. And I get here, and I see my friend. And I don't particularly know what happened. I can fill you in. I feel like it's more imperative that we get him some medical attention, and then you can sit me down in one of your fancy police rooms and talk me until my ears fall off.
Ambulance is on the way, sir. And the other officer who's out back has found the skin sack. Makes a retching sound, and Inspector Barrington obviously shifts his attention and walks over there. The younger officer who's near you, Irene, with Zebulon, is kind of trying to comfort you, thinking that you're in shock, much like Miles, who I think he just now notices. And I said, it's gonna be alright, miss. It's gonna be fine. He's, looks like most of the bleeding has stopped and the ambulance is here soon. Is he a friend of yours?
Yes. There's a whole group of us. There was a whole incident here, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, we're gonna handle everything. What exactly happened here?
Well, Mr. Mahoney was a bit later, but the two friends of mine who were unconscious, we came to visit Mr. Shipley here, and suddenly my friends they passed out, and so I was trying to attend to them while Mr. Shipley was working on his piece, and as that was all happening, Mr. Mahoney came, and we went out to the back, and we saw, and she trails off very.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be all right. He's gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine, miss.
And she just like nods her head.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot she took off her fucking shawl to do shit. So
yeah.
she's shawlless and cold.
Sure. That's right. You took off the shawl. Interesting. So the inspector and the officer are examining the skin sack. The other one is with you. And I think the one who retched makes his way, Barrington kind of guides him away so he can take a closer look, and this officer goes over to Miles. And they start talking. I mean, I don't think it's cool. Like, they're not trying to be secretive, obviously, but Miles is at first non-responsive. Back inside Charlie, the officer is continuing to kind of ask, about what you were doing here. You mentioned, I know Ganymede mentioned going to see the paintings.
Yeah.
What are you telling this officer?
Yeah, I'm telling pretty much the entire truth. Because Charlie didn't see most of what happened outside.
Yeah, sure.
So he's saying that they went upstairs. Charlie had purchased, he's making this well known that he purchased all 3 paintings just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And that they had come downstairs to do paperwork, and that the lady of the house had served them tea, and that they had started feeling weird, and that they tried to escape, and then they passed out on the sidewalk and somebody saw them and blah, blah, blah. But he is going to tell the officer that he thinks she was hiding something in the basement.
Okay.
Charlie is going to be like, maybe you should go down there and look. I'll go with you, but you should definitely at least go down there and check it out.
Sure.
Yeah. Charlie's going to say, I think he's going to just straight up say that he thought he heard screaming coming from the basement.
Okay. This officer kind of steps into the hall and yells out so that everyone in the back can hear, everyone in the front can hear.
Mm-hmm.
And he also yells out for the officer out front to call for backup, in this case whistling for backup, not actually calling. And Ganymede out front, the officer hops to it. So he's not looking at you, is what I'm saying right now.
Okay, good.
If you would like to do anything.
Yes. Here, that definitely gets my attention, and so Ganymede looks to the right and to the left, and quickly stands up and tries to quietly scoot into the front room.
Yeah, I think you can. The other officer is back in the kitchen with Charlie. You told him there could be people down there, so you see through the window Barrington kind of gives him a nod.
Mm-hmm.
And he begins to descend the basement stairs.
Cool. If I see Ganymede, so he's leaving me alone pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's at least one person outside, so nobody could slip away.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, I just want to talk to Ganymede without the the officer listening in. And I think Charlie's gonna come up to her and say, "I couldn't find any lighter fluids, so I think that they found what was left of Mrs. Shipley in the back, because I probably would have seen or heard that guy throwing up, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know what the two of them out there are saying, but that's gonna be pretty hard to explain.
If they're anything like the authorities in New York, they'll be baffled by it and will then choose to ignore it. All right.
Do you think they're like the authorities in New York?
She looks out at Barrington. I don't know, Charlie. Are you going down?
I mean, I feel kind of bad just letting him go down there by himself, but I don't want to be suspicious. I don't want him to think we're trying to pull anything over on him. Would you want to go down there with me?
And she thinks back for a moment to her time in the secret basement of Juju House in Harlem. She takes a deep breath. Yes, all right, let's go.
Yeah, so we'll go downstairs too.
Okay.
In the basement.
Good.
Great.
Yeah, excellent.
Amazing.
Love it. So when you get down there, at first it looks much just like a large basement room, pretty much mostly the size of the house, maybe not fully. Lots of junk down here, boxes, crates, broken chairs, but there is kind of I think both of you can see this, like a kind of stuff moved aside leading to the wall, which would be kind of like toward the front-ish of the house.
If there's a clear path, we'll just walk.
Yeah,
We'll
he's
go
there.
that way.
You see him kind of looking under kind of these cloth coverings and things. As you enter, he turns over his shoulder. I don't think there's anyone down here.
Charlie kind of looks around and then goes, maybe not. I mean, whatever she gave us was pretty strong. It might have been my imagination. But Charlie's going to go over to that wall.
Yeah.
Start touching around on it. Also, can I vibe check this place?
Sure.
I haven't done that in a minute.
Yeah. And make sure after you roll your d10 for magic points.
Yeah. Great. Love that did nothing.
Yeah.
Wait, why? Why didn't that work?
It's a great question. I wish I could tell you.
What?
You can
Whatever,
just-
I'll roll a d100.
Yeah. Yeah.
I succeed.
Yes. As you approach this wall, woof, and kind of just take in the whole aura of this place, those screams are immediately intense. Intense, but muffled in terms of proximity. Ganymede, why don't you make a spot hidden check?
I'll use the 2 points of luck to get a regular success.
Okay. As
Whoops.
yeah,
Sorry.
as you do this, and you see what does it look like when Charles is keen into this kind of intense vibe?
Yeah, I think Charlie kind of like in a way that you've seen him do many times, and kind of like opening up his palms and just kind of like, it's like he's kind of in this weird state of like meditation where he just seems like he's really focusing in on something, like if he were just like staring really hard at like a book or a picture or something like that. And as soon as I think as he starts to get this like really intense hear these like intense screams, and he can tell that they're kind of like muffled or somewhere not exactly as close as he thought. I think just for a second you see his hands kind of tremble as he lifts them up and literally places them up against the wall. I think to the average person it would seem like he's like steadying himself, like he's dizzy. But I think like Ganymede, you can see that he's just like really staring intensely at this wall. He kind of seems like disconnected from reality for a split second as he's kind of honing in on that.
Ganymede.
I wonder if that wall seems to me as though it makes this space smaller than the space upstairs, right? In other words, if that's not actually the wall of the basement, but there's a space behind it.
Yes.
Ganymede, I think she finds if there's broken furniture, she finds a table leg or a chair spindle or something, and she's going to come up next to Charles, excuse me, and start just tapping on the wall around where he's standing to hear if it's hollow at any point. If it sounds hollow.
Yes. And
it does?
there's with you, yes, it does. And with your spot hidden, I think you see kind of brick in it that's not as kind of dark and covered with grime as the others.
I noticed that, and I just, without saying anything, I want to try to point it out to Charlie if he's not too deep in his fugue state here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like foggy. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
when you point to it or like when you're tapping around, that kind of sounds like it's also muffled, like through, like he's underwater, right? That's kind of
Right.
the feeling. But if he sees it and sees you point to it, he'll just shift his hand and press on it or like try and pull it out.
Yeah.
Ganymede's ready to grab him and pull him back if need be.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you press on it, a section in the wall opens like a door. And the first thing that hits you is the overwhelming stench. Much like the reptile house smell that Irene identified. Shelves cover the walls. There are jars filled with dark, kind of icky looking substances. And in the center is a bath-like stone tub covered with a large sheet of metal.
Constable, presumably the police
Yeah.
officer has seen this as well.
Yeah. He
So
moves forward towards you swiftly.
I would be very cautious about that sheet of metal if I were you. I don't know what's under it, but you should be cautious. And I'm trying to pull Charlie back away from it. Like, I don't want us to go in there.
Yeah. I think like instinctually Charlie was like walking into the room because did the screaming become more clear as soon as the door opened?
Like to the point where it's like ringing in your ears.
Yeah, I think like it's like a subconscious movement forward, Ganymede, that I think you can easily pull him back, right? But you could see him moving towards the source of that sound. Does it seem like it's coming from the tub, Lauren? And I think as you kind of pull him back, he leans over to you, Ganymede, as the officer is going into the room. The screaming is coming from the tub.
She nods, and I'm gonna kind of pulling back to as close to the foot of the stairs as I can. I'm gonna call up Inspector. You might want to see this. Genny's intent here is to leave this to the authorities and us get the hell out of here.
Smart. Yeah, if you yell out pretty loudly, they're going to be able to hear you out back. So, to clarify, because I want to kind of push us forward. What does anybody look in the tub?
No, I do not.
Oh God, Summer wants to look in the tub, but I don't think Charlie wants to look in the tub. No, I don't think I think he's in a weird mental state right now, to say the least. So I think with just like the slightest coaxing, Ganymede could easily get him out of that basement.
Yeah.
I think seeing like the origin, but not seeing what's inside was enough for Charlie, to know that it is going to be uncovered, whatever is in there at some point, but just not by us.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I just want to make sure that
officer
has a little bit of backup before
Agreed. We're not going to let him
around in there.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna make sure somebody comes downstairs before we leave him alone in that room.
I think since he doesn't hear any screaming, he escorts the two of you back up so they can all reconvene. More backup arrives. The ambulance arrives. Zeb is taken. They tell you where he's going and everything. But I think the questioning continues. I will say Barrington doesn't like, I just imagine you all out on a little stone, like, I guess street corner out front. And as you're all out there, Miles hasn't come out, and finally, the officer who was talking to him brings him out, and he's in handcuffs. And he's being put in the back of the car.
Oh, yeah, Charlie's gonna go over there.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, why is Mr. Shipley being arrested?
You see this officer's eyes are pretty wide. It took them a while. I mean, they did everything you said. They went down and checked. This officer looks a little haunted. Bodies. Parts of bodies in the basement. He confessed.
I'm sorry, he confessed. He said that he did it.
He nods.
Um,
Sorry, I've got a kind of, I think, Inspector Barrington, like, whistles with his hands.
yeah.
And everybody, like, starts moving faster. Basically, like, why are you talking to this civilian who we don't know how they're connected to all this? And the officer kind of pushes Shipley forward, who is still non-responsive.
Yeah. Charlie's gonna reach out and, like, touch Miles's shoulder as he's, like, getting, like, pulled away, and just say, like, Miles, what are you doing?
He kind of turns to look at you, but his eyes are blank. And it looks like he has no more really will of his own, if he has had any before, but now there's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think seeing that look, Charlie just kind of withdraws his hand. Because there's nothing really else that we can do for him. Yeah, I think Charlie just kind of backs up and feels a little bit shitty about it, but he clearly needs some kind of, like, help at this point.
Yeah.
And better for him to be out of this house.
I think Barrington just asks where you're all staying, why you're in town, and says he will be in touch if there are further questions, if they need to fill in more details. So we are going to go to the BRB screen so that our friend Tommy can actually see our faces in Zoom. And we will be right back to find out what's going to happen to him in the hospital. It's probably fine. Okay. Oh, there. Okay, BRB. Ha! We're back. Nothing happened. It was just your imagination. It's fine. So, as Charlie and Ganymede and Irene and I suppose Mickey heads back to the hotel with them. Of course, you can go anywhere you like if you don't want to go to the hotel, but we are going to go to the hospital. Zeb, I think you come back to consciousness, kind of in and out, as you are patched up. And that means you get, aren't you excited that you already get some HP back?
Yay!
You get, oh my goodness, look at that, I rolled max for you. You
Wow,
get
nice.
6 HP back because you were being actively treated by medical professionals. But you're still kind of in and out of it. I mean, they have to, the stitches are intense, right?
I imagine.
Yeah. And I think one of the times, I think the rest of the day for you passes like pretty hazily.
Yeah.
And this, you're not
Probably
really...
had a lot of pain.
Yeah. And they got you on the good stuff too, because those are gnarly wounds. But over the kind of course of the day, you, as you're going in and out of consciousness, you aren't sure if this is a dream, but you like see yourself with a phone in your hand, like the hospital phone. And you don't know why you're here. And there's no one on the other end. It's like the conversation just ended. And I think the receptionist is just kind of looking at you in your kind of state of, you know, being bandaged and everything.
I feel like I've been run over by about every linebacker in the state of Carolina.
I'm sure you're right. She looks up at you. She's got strawberry blonde hair and a few freckles and a very like bold lip. And her name tag reads Rose.
Where am I? What happened?
You're in the hospital. You were injured and you kind of walked out here and asked to use the telephone.
What? Well, I don't remember. I just kind of been. It's been all kind of a haze for a while now, it feels like.
Yes, you're not really supposed to be out of your room.
No, I don't. Well, where is my room?
I can walk you there if you're done with your phone calls. We do have tea here, you know.
Tea? Sorry, tea? Why? I don't...
Just, what you called, that shop. I know they sell tea as well. She's just looking at you confused.
I think Zeb's probably still on too much pain medication to put this one together right now.
Yeah.
So Zeb's just... sorry, what? Do you know who did I call?
It was a tea and spice shop in Soho.
I don't know any... I just got here like a week ago. I mean, I just got into London I don't know, what day is it?
It's Sunday night? The 1st of March.
And we got here Saturday morning?
Yeah, you got into London
Friday night?
on
Yeah.
Sunday.
On Sunday. I've been here less than a day. I don't know any tea shops. I think I'm gonna go lie down. I mean, if you've got some, I mean, tea sounds real nice.
Yes, I'm sure I can have some brought up for you. Is there anyone else you'd like to call?
Probably the people I'm traveling with right now. They're staying at the what was the hotel? It's the
That's something
what's the hotel
that
we're
I
staying at?
remember totally off the top of my head.
Is it like the Continental or something?
It was something very fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll find it.
I say the name of our hotel.
Yeah. The Ritz. You're at the Ritz.
Ritz. We're at the Ritz. That's right.
Yeah, I wrote that
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I literally read it as you
I
were
think I should probably call my travel companions, let them know I'm all right.
Certainly, I can
awake.
place a call for you. Is there anyone else? And then she, like, when you don't respond, she kind of tilts her head. Family, perhaps?
Zeb's like, no, just no family. Absolutely no family here in London. As you can tell, I'm from the States.
Yes.
Absolutely, no family. Zeb's definitely not gonna let Annabelle know he got really screwed up. Like, if Frankie was here, that's one thing.
Right.
But this is Annabelle. But yes, if you can just ask for Mr. Charlie Rapp at the Ritz. He should be able to get. He's one of my travel companions, and he'll be able to get in touch with everyone else. I'm gonna go. Do you mind leading me back to my room? I'm just gonna go. Oh, my shoulder feels like lead.
Certainly. And she hops up and starts leading you away. I think you also notice that she's wearing not the typical nurse shoes.
Mm-hmm.
She's got red shoes on, like heels.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll walk you back.
Yep, and that's yeah, and then Zeb's just gonna like, oh.
Yeah.
Zeb's just gonna lay back, and he's just like, I don't. He's just trying to come to grasp with the fact that he wrestled with a lizard person.
Sure.
Like, he definitely remembers that, and he's just like, oh, that had to be a pain-induced. Yeah, I didn't really wrestle with. I don't want to believe Charlie on his whole weird, spooky stuff. I don't want. Oh, that's just him right now.
Zeb's major internal crisis is, if I believe in lizard people, then I have to believe in ghosts too.
Yeah. So you eventually manage to get back to sleep and such, but again, it's that very in and out of consciousness. And at one point, there is tea brought, but it's while you are asleep. And when you wake up to drink it, there is the overwhelming smell of cumin again, like in your hotel room. And the tea is very, very good. Like, it's not basic tea.
They must really like their spices here. Seems to be everywhere. Yeah, I mean, Zeb's gonna drink it.
Yeah.
Zeb's in pain. Zeb's out of it. Zeb's
delicious. And get another 3 points of HP back. See, sometimes drinking the tea is good.
I now think I have almost as many hit points as Charlie does at full health.
Fuck.
Flex. Okay, so again, as you sleep a bit more restful now, I want to cut over to the next morning, Monday, March 2nd, 1925, bitterly cold and foggy. And what I really, because I want to do this, I think Barrington, I think you all know, I think he probably called the hotel and said that he was on his way to kind of finish talking to you all. Nobody's being brought into the station, which is interesting, and just kind of debrief you on everything. Likely because he looked up Ganymede Graves' name, you're being afforded some additional courtesies. But what I want to do is kind of talk to everybody beforehand. I wanna know what you're doing in the morning. And I'm just saying, if Ganymede and Mickey wanted to chit chat, it would be a great time to do it.
Yeah.
So Mickey has his own flat, but I think out of like being rattled enough, he would opt to want to stay with this group.
Yeah, they have
wherever
a spare
they were
room.
staying. Yeah. And so if it's the morning, he's probably crunching some powdered mushrooms into some tea.
Nice. You notice, I think you're probably staying in Zeb's room because getting another room at the Ritz is so much.
Yeah.
Charlie could afford it, but it's about availability. But you notice Zeb's room smells like spicy in a pleasant way. But yeah, you crunch up your mushrooms, you drink your tea. And how do the two of you come together? Ganymede's an early riser, if I recall.
Yeah, she definitely is. And so I think when are our rooms all connected? Is that how we're...
Charlie probably would have gotten a suite that, and like would have gotten rooms next to each other.
Yeah,
I would have assumed.
I think next to each other.
Because he booked them a while ago, so
Yeah.
probably all next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as she has some sense that Mickey is up, I think she comes in and I think she has a pot of tea on a tray that has been brought up from room service. And so she knocks on the door and kind of kicks it. She's gonna have to kind of kick it a little bit with her foot. Mr. Mahoney?
Just a moment. What?
Yeah.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning. I thought you might like a spot of tea.
I would love some. That's great. Would you like to? And he gestures openly into the room.
Yeah. So she comes in and sits the tea tray down on the table, and I think she sees the cup that you were preparing. Oh, I see you already have some. Well, there's no need to.
No, it's that's not that's. I guess it's tea in a matter of speaking. The Americans make tea with strange beans, so everything is tea.
Yes, Americans do some very strange things. There's a bit of a twinkle in her eye as she says that.
Please take a seat. I will gladly accept the tea. Quite quite a day yesterday.
Yes, well, I was, and she's pouring out at this point. Yes, I was wondering how you were. Unfortunately, my friends and I have become somewhat accustomed to seeing things like that and being in those types of situations, but I would imagine that that was a bit novel for you.
In a matter of speaking, yes, but I spend my time writing for a tabloid, but my being craves something of much stronger importance than to entertain idle minds of London. So I usually attempt to dig deeper. There's always something behind the veil, and you would be surprised how much things are connected. Or maybe you wouldn't be surprised at all.
Well, it's interesting that you would ask. I find myself this morning wondering how all of these things are connected. And I think perhaps she'll go into, if you kind of prompt her or seem open to it, she'll go into some conversation about just sharing what happened in Peru and a little bit of what happened in New York, and now we're here, and so I have some sense that it's all connected, but I can't quite put the pieces together. It's frustrating, to be honest.
Well, yes, it's, for me, strange things happen frequently if you look for them. It's how you organize them and the systems you have in place to be able to elicit the connections between such events.
I began this adventure imagining that the systems that I was taught, the scientific method and so forth, was sufficient for that task, but, well, one only has to see so many lizard people to wonder at the sufficiency of science to explain all of these things, much less what Charles seems to be capable of. It baffles me.
Well, the scientific method, like many other systems established by men, are inherently subject to flaw.
Yes. I suppose you're right. And what do you make of all of this, Mr. Mahoney? What connections do you see in these events?
Well, through the use of substances in Mr. Shipley's household, I saw things that I was not expecting. I saw a pyramid, but not one of Egyptian make, in a swamp, and I'm hardly of the mind to think that this does not own itself exclusively. This is I've worked with Mr. Shipley before. I've wrote an article about his work. That has to tie into, dare I say, the occult somehow. Some sort of thing not described by science. There was an altar. There was a group. I saw a group of explorers outside an Egyptian-style pyramid. I saw a great many things while I was under the influence of something Mr. Shipley was using commonly himself to aid in his work.
The pyramids in the bog, were there people there? Did you see people in that?
Oh, let me tell you what I saw in And then he pulls out this like little notebook. So in the night prior, he's written everything down.
Yeah.
This is a strange marshland, a swamp. This is an island. It had a stone altar.
Yes. But people, a man and a woman, perhaps.
That I did not see in the swamp. The adventurers that I had seen near the Egyptian-style hallucination that I had, 5 figures of Western origin, wearing Western garb. You know, a little out of date, perhaps, to what is currently fashionable. But, you know, within reason. It would have been acceptable for common folk like me. There was a stand. There was a black throne room, ornate. And there was a figure that was strangely beautiful somehow. I want to say Egyptian, but not quite, not exactly, not the things that I would know about Egypt. But the one thing that keeps popping in my mind is brilliant green eyes.
The 5 could perhaps have been the Carlyles, the expedition, that is. How strange.
I don't know much about the Carlisle expedition per se, but if there's no other expeditions with 5 unique persons.
Yes.
Mickey, I think you recall when Jackson Elias came in, he mentioned he was investigating that expedition, but nothing really more than that.
I do recall a contact of mine who had given me the key to give to Irene, had mentioned something about his intent to discover more about the Carlisle expedition. I believe you may be familiar with Jackson?
Yes. And she pauses for a moment, just kind of a moment of silence, remembering him. Well, I suppose we should be thinking about making our way to the hospital to check in on Zebulon. I must call his sister, but I wonder, does Mickey maybe have a copy of the scoop laying around? Is there a copy there in the room that he's picked up, perhaps?
So he wouldn't carry his work with him because he works for a tabloid, but he hates working at a tabloid. So
interesting. Okay.
Now, I understand the importance of checking in on Zeb, but we are hardly medical professionals. He could use our company, but we don't know if he is conscious. I think there is merit to staying here for a while to rest, gather our senses before we head out. There's no particular rush. He's probably going to be in a hospital for a while, I suppose.
Yes, perhaps you're right. I think if you don't have one, I'm gonna say that Ganymede has brought it's just sort of folded over, and she put it under the tea tray, but she'll having no idea that you are embarrassed of it, she'll draw it out and with it a pen. Mr. Mahoney, I'm terribly embarrassed to ask, but I have a very dear friend who is a great fan of your work. I wonder if you might, and she sort of gestures with the pen and the paper, it's folded over to one of your pieces.
Do you want me to sign on top of the writing or find some space within the margins?
Make it as large as possible and make it to Beatrix, if you would. Something mysterious, she'll love that.
So Mickey thinks for a moment, and then he'll write on the article as largely as possible, something mysterious, love, Mickey.
Perfect.
Have you read all of them? All of my articles in the Scoop?
Not all of them, I'm afraid. I'm sure Beatrix has, but some of the more recent ones.
Well, something that I believe might be worth your and Beatrix's time. I am the type of perfectionist that does not allow for mistypes. I proofread my work so many times. However, there are some of my articles that get published that do have typos. I think you should pay attention to those articles.
Very well.
Now, if you don't mind, well, we've got some time to kill, and I'm sipping this wonderful tea. Thank you, by the way. This is delicious. What is this?
Oh, it's breakfast tea. It was brought up from downstairs, but of course, it is the Ritz.
That's fancy. But I couldn't help but notice when I shouted obscenity at earlier when we had first met that I might have taken you aback with some commentary about parentage. And there was no ill will intended there. I was just caught in my own feelings.
Oh, of course. Of course. No, think nothing of it.
But if you ever need to express anything about that, I would be a good ear, perhaps a good shoulder.
I do believe you would, Mr. Mahoney. Thank you for that.
But, I don't know if your travels would lead you to stay here in London or perhaps travel elsewhere in these crazy times, but you'll always have a place here if you want or need it.
For that, I'm most grateful, Mr. Mahoney. Perhaps we might correspond then. If the need arises while I am off on whatever adventure comes next.
He'll flip through his journal, take out a blank page at the end. He'll write his address down, rip the page out. Yeah. Also, if you need it and I'm not at home, there is a shrubbery in the front. Dig about 2 inches deep from the root of the one on the right. There'll be a key to my flat in there for emergencies, because I lose things, believe it or not, when I'm out and about.
And she stands and smiles at that. Something mysterious indeed, then. Well, we will we'll let you know, of course, if we decide to go to the hospital today, but I'll leave you to your morning. Thank you for the company.
Thank you for yours. It was my pleasure to bask.
Excellent. And as you go about the rest of your morning, Ganymede, are you calling Annabelle?
Yes, I'm calling Annabelle.
Great.
Harley would have made sure that you did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What do you tell her? I just want to know so that when she shows up, I know exactly what kind of state she's in.
I tell her that Zeb has been injured. He's fine and is going to make a complete recovery. He is at Royal Hospital in a private room, and I give her the information. I expect that we'll be visiting sometime later today. But I reassure her as much as possible that he's fine. And I think I tell her that I'll let her know when we're going to be there, with the implication that so she doesn't have to be there at the same time and potentially bump into Charlie again.
Interesting. Sure. So Charlie and Irene, how's your morning going? What are you two doing?
Probably decompressing a little bit. Maybe having just like a chill breakfast. But I think that Irene, you would definitely realize that Charlie is kind of off. He definitely seems more quiet than usual. And I think even when he nearly died, when he got stabbed real bad and was in the hospital, he bounced back pretty quickly as far as like his mood. But he definitely seems like off this morning. More introspective than he normally is.
What's on your mind?
I think he is just kind of staring down at his tea that he hasn't drank any of. How much did I ever tell you about Annie?
Not much. I mean, you told me of the circumstances that happened.
Yesterday, when I was unconscious, I relived that day. And it seemed like more than a dream, and it seemed real.
Must have been the drugs. Whatever was in that tea.
Yeah, but it happened in New York too. It's kind of funny. When I woke up after the accident, and I realized that I could see spirits, and I didn't really want it, but I was glad that I had it, because once I found out she was gone, I figured that meant I could still see her and talk to her, and I wouldn't really have to lose her. But she wasn't there. And I have just been looking for her ever since. You know, it started small in California, and I was going to these seances, and I was just like all of them. Just looking for the people that they lost, and sometimes they found them, and sometimes they got closure. But most of the time, they don't. Most of the time, they're just gone. And so, I've spent half my life just wondering if I was going to see her again. And then I did. But it's just those final few moments. And it's not what I wanted. Because it's not really her, it's just my memory of her. And boy, does it fucking suck.
I think Irene leans forward and places her hand on Charlie's. Do you still love her?
Yeah. I mean, I'll always love her. I knew that the day we met. I mean, we were just kids. I still knew.
And so you'll keep looking for her then?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I can help looking. But there's part of me too that just wants to let her rest. That wants to let me rest.
Well, when you're doing your other spirit searching, you don't usually look for a specific person, if I remember.
Yeah, not usually. Try not to.
So maybe it's just a matter of if she finds you, then she'll find you. I don't know how much of it you can orchestrate to happen. I mean, we all are followed by our past in some way, some a little more tangibly, if you say ghosts are tangible.
He smiles at you a little bit and flips his hand over to hold yours for a moment. Nowhere to go but forward.
I'm not sure if I want to keep going if we're going to keep running into things like this.
We could always go home. but I don't think we will.
I think as you say that, Charlie, we can always go home. All of you at the same time, even Zeb in his hospital bed, hear the sound of a clock ticking. And I think that's where we're going to end today's episode. Next week, we'll have everyone back together in the hospital with Inspector Barrington. I'm sure we'll be very cool and chill and fine. So, let's go around, chat with everybody, starting with our special guest, Billy.
Hello.
Hello.
That was fun. Got that Ganymede time. Super awesome. Yeah, this is like the fallout of major, huge events like this is always cool because that's like everyone's trying to heal. So you have like the really good scenes, and that was super prevalent today. So great job, everyone. I love playing with all these people. This is such a fun crew. Thank you for having me. Go follow them on the internets if you want to follow me as well. Bill of the Forest. If you don't, I get it. You're fine. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity. This was a hoot.
Awesome. Let's go over to Tommy, who's alive and well and drinking tea. So cozy.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing suspicious about this tea at all. Nothing suspicious about the clock ticking at all. Nothing ominous and suspicious at all in this game. Yes, I always sort of love these after sort of arcs or events sort of sessions, because you really get to see the character sort of growth, sort of, or the the change of characters. So like I really love these. But yeah, I'm super excited for next week. Maybe sort of. I'm not Zeb's not like I'm looking forward to it, but also I'm like I feel for Zeb with Annabelle's visit to the hospital. That'll be fun.
Everyone's in trouble.
But yeah, I am at Imperator Penguin on the Twitter sphere. I do tabletop RPG stuff and video editing stuff across the internet. Although most of my projects are done for the year, so mostly you'll just find me here on Saturdays, being just with all sorts of spoopy stuff in the spoopy months. But yeah, go follow everyone else here. They're doing stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, sometimes. Let's hop up to Summer. Hey.
Hi. Hey. How's it going?
Pretty
How's
good.
everyone doing? Great. Cool.
Yeah.
Hi. Wow. Great work. Great work. Pats on the back, everybody. No one's dead. We didn't look in that nasty ass tub, but we did traumatize some police officers, so good on us. I'm Summer. You can find me on Twitter at Just a Summer Job. That's where I tweet and retweet about everything that I've got going on. I'm here every Saturday, so come find me here because I love this show and I love this group. But yeah, you can also find me various other channels I won't get into. Just follow me on Twitter.
Excellent. And Allie.
Hey, wow, so much fun. I'm totally with you, Bill. I love these sort of let's all take a deep breath and deal with the trauma of what happened last time episodes. And I'm gonna make one more plug, Lauren, for a spin-off with our journalist, supernatural journalist detective friends, because I would watch the hell out of that show.
If y'all are ever about to die, I'm just gonna bring in the League of Extraordinary Journalists.
The League of Extraordinary Journalists.
Yes.
I love it. You can catch me on Twitter at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y. and here on Saturday mornings because I love it so. And we'll see you next time.
And Key, anything personal to plug?
Yeah, I'm Kienna. I'm just reading the channel. Y'all can find me over on Twitter at KiennaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing when I'm not here on the channel. I'm mostly just here though. I've got a new series that's out now with LFM Network, where I play a chaotic little rat person in Dark Sun. It's very fun. So if you just want me to make really bad decisions, that's the place to be. Like, bad decisions as a barely 3 foot tall rat person. It's great. But otherwise, I'm here. I'm also the GM for a Burn Bright campaign on the channel. So if you like some science, fiction, fantasy stuff, that's the place to be.
Awesome.
What about you, Lauren?
I'm Lauren, I'm Not Salty Ginger. Over on the Twitter, you can mostly find me here right now, but I'm also GM with the Magpie Curated Play program. I think right now I just have one last seat for Bluebeard's Bride one-shot that is going to be on the 14th. So if you feel like doing that for spooky season, come do that. Yes, yes, yes. But otherwise, just channel stuff. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you Roll20. Thank you Dice MD. Thank you Grinding Coffee Co. for supporting us. Thank you for the resubs today. Thank you very much. We will be back tomorrow for The Witcher. We will be down one Katie, but we got our Lindy back.
Finally, the internet god finally brought her back.
So we're gonna see what Thrin was doing at the Not a Sex party. And that's at 8 a.m. Pacific. Then we will definitely be back on Tuesday for Burn Bright at 6 p.m. Pacific. That is the show that we are co-producing with Roll20. It's very cool. If you ever miss an episode, you can check out our YouTube. We put all our VODs there when we feel like it. You can follow us on Twitter to see when we're going live and help us get the word out. Is that everything?
I think that's basically everything.
Yeah.
We're gonna go and head out. We might raise some friends, so stick around and chat. But otherwise, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Alrighty. Wave bye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye.